Hello, friends. I'm testing the audio. How you doing? You doing good? You here to learn? I hope so. I hope you're ready. We're gonna go deep today. Get your books out. Which books? Any book. Pick a random book off your bookshelf. I am also, yet again, waiting for Miss INTJ. She kind of just appears. You never really know where she is. She just appears sometimes. Okay, I'm just trying to see. I think it was on that post. I just want to make sure it is indeed the right person.
Hey, everybody.
That's it.
Thank you for watching.
You get what you get. You don't throw a fit.
Thumbnail.
Already? You're mixing up the order? We do that at the end.
Thumbnail.
Okay. Hey guys. You're supposed to do the Welcome to the INTJ and Cat Show.
What's your favorite breakfast food?
Y'all, you are in a weird mood. We did just have a great breakfast last night. Sounds bizarre, but
it was odd too because it wasn't like a traditional let's go to this place for like this place is really good breakfast food. It's
just one of the few places in our town that actually serves breakfast all day.
Yeah.
I had some of those pancakes this morning.
And is that your favorite breakfast food?
Blueberry pancakes. This morning it was. But in general, of all time that I've been alive on this planet, no. I think my all-time favorite is hash browns.
I like toaster strudels.
You do. You do. And you can't go to a restaurant and like order a toaster strudel.
That'd be awesome.
So
I think those are like little like pies. Like a toaster strudel is basically like a McDonald's apple pie.
So you like a pastry?
No, not for breakfast. I just like them.
So when you go to a restaurant and order, what's your favorite go-to?
Bacon? Just bacon.
Bacon?
My breakfast food tends to be like, okay, I'll get like bacon and a waffle or something like that. But if we go to the American South, biscuits and gravy, chicken and waffles, eggs and grits. What?
Okay, you have to choose one.
No, it's the American South breakfast. You get all of those.
No, that doesn't count. You asked me to choose one. So then I'm going to change. I'm going to change my answer.
For breakfast last night.
I know. I'm going to change my answer then. If you're going to go, it's the full South American breakfast.
South American.
So
American South.
Oh yeah, I guess that would be confusing. American South breakfast.
2 hours later.
You don't want to go camping.
Well, it sounded fun, and then I started listening to some stuff, and I realized, oh, that's the trap.
The camping sounds fun?
That's the trick. Well, I made the mistake of listening to a bunch of videos, Missing 411, shout out, about all the mysterious disappearances in the national parks.
Well, that's why I suggested we go somewhere and we get a yurt.
So do aliens not abduct from yurts?
Aliens do not abduct from yurts.
Okay, I mean, you would know probably better than me because you're a little more familiar with camping.
Okay.
You sounded serious.
Someone tries to rapidly get through activities, makes them wrong way, and doubles down.
That's just my life. Speaking of Carl
Jung.
we're talking about Carl Jung. So do you want to do the cat segment or not? Because I'll just move on.
Do you like up?
Am I going to do the real intro or are we doing the cat shows?
Are you going to answer my question?
No, I'm not because we've got to move on.
Do you like up?
Also, yes, I do like up.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Can you stop talking? I'm going to do the cat segment.
Okay. All right.
Hi. Welcome to the INTJ and chat.
And the chat show. We do
the chat show.
We do a lot of chatting.
This is where we chat. Welcome to the INTJ and Cat Show. I'm your host, INTJ, and today we're featuring this cute kitty.
We didn't get the name of this cute kitty unless its name is My Cat.
But again, we do want to respect the cat's privacy, so if the names are intentionally not shared, it's okay.
Yeah, but it's an absolute cutie. It's a pretty, pretty little kitty. I don't know if it's a female or male. I don't really care.
That is a female cat.
Because it's calico, right?
Because it's calico.
It's such a pretty little kitty. And that was sent by @YourCherryBomb. But it's BEOM, which is a Korean name.
On TikTok?
I know that because I had a friend named Bomjun. And so BEOM, your cherry bomb. Hi guys, actually, that wasn't right. Take 3. Hi guys, welcome to the ENFP and INTJ show. I'm ENFP, I'm a certified practitioner, MBTI practitioner, and this is my friend INTJ, and she
likes patterns.
We got it. We got it on the third go.
Yeah. So this is our part 2 episode of MBTI for Dummies. There's a ton to go over, but we're trying to make it more palatable and easier because there is so much of our audience that knows and loves and embraces MBTI and all sorts of other different personality profiles and different types of psychology. And they've been teaching us a ton. But then also, we have a select like group who just like us as people, which thank you, I know. But they get bored when they're watching us talk, like, because it's like we're speaking. Yep.
Which it's fair to say, MBTI still isn't going to be for everybody.
That's true.
So there is that.
Yeah.
Don't feel pressured like you have to love Myers-Briggs. You also don't have to like Myers-Briggs. That's okay.
Yeah, you can hate watch us too if you want.
Yeah. Or just watch
I
us
do.
for the impeccable fashion.
You look great today, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I went a little crazy kooky, but here I am.
Were you planning to wear that outfit before I told you I wanted to wear a vest today?
Yes, I was planning to do this. I put this together yesterday.
Okay.
But then we ended up not filming.
Because we spoke, and well, I had already wanted to wear a vest for this for this filming, whatever
know
the
about
episode
that.
was, and you didn't know about it.
So I don't know. I think I'm probably going to title this episode something like MBTI for Dummies, the Cognitive Functions.
The cogs.
I also thought about maybe the origins, but we kind of already brushed on the history. But essentially what this episode is dedicated to as part 2 to the last MBTI.
Dedicated to Carl from Up.
We're going to be
The
talking
Story of Grief.
about Carl Jung, basically where Isabel and Catherine got their source material from for the Myers-Briggs type indicator. That's what we're going over today, and it also is going to help you understand cognitive functions, which I hope a lot of you from the last episode came to this one because I told you stick around for this one because the cognitive functions are a big deal. Today's topic.
Yeah, cognitive functions is probably one of my favorite elements of Myers-Briggs. And I think that, to me, these are the patterns by which I perceive the world the most.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's probably a similar, like you're looking for cognitive functions in people above all else?
Yeah. I think it's fair to say when you look at the 4-letter types, the system which Isabel and Catherine Myers-Briggs created, those 4 letters, I can't see them the same way anymore. I don't see them as 4 letters that are distinct traits. I see them as a code. And if you know how to read the code, you can actually see they're not individual things. They are functions that it's like a psychological flow of energy. They are all working together and with each other. And that's where these cognitive functions will come in. So you'll probably have the same experience. As you learn the cognitive functions, you start to, instead of separating them as individual traits and different letters, you'll start to see actually how they're influencing each other and creating a distinct, unique type. So yes, let's go ahead and start with just a brief overview. If you don't know who Carl Jung is, and you keep hearing that name, he was basically a Swiss psychiatrist and psychotherapist from the late 1800s. He was born in 1875, passed away in 1961. So the Wikipedia overview just says Carl Gustav Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology, also known as Jungian psychology. He was known, his work largely consisted, his big part of his focus and his work was the unconscious, the subconscious, and that was the main thing. He also went over his ideas of personality theory. So he had his own theories of personality, which is what we're going to go off of. So he had a book, and I don't remember which year was that book. It was called The Psychological Types.
1921.
1921 is when that was published. That was the book that Isabel and Catherine were inspired by to create the MBTI that we talked about in part 1. Today, we're basically going to just lightly touch on his original work and basically explain the cognitive functions and how we got from there to what we now have as the MBTI. As we said in part 1, basically the MBTI was created as a layman's tool basically to simplify this stuff which we're talking about today. Now, this isn't all of his, all of what is found in that book, but this is a big piece of it, which is what inspired the MBTI. So I'm going to, in order to explain it to you in the most simple way, I'm going to show it to you the way I was taught when I did the workshop many years ago. Once I learned it, it stuck. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. So hopefully it also makes sense for you. I'm going to hold up these little whiteboards, and if you need to pause and look at them longer, feel free to. But we're going to start here with my lovely brain picture that I have attempted to draw. I'm not an artist, okay? Don't judge me. Hopefully you can read that you can basically think of everything about Myers-Briggs starts right here in this picture.
With the brain.
With the
Pinky
brain.
and the brain.
Carl Jung, his theory basically states that at the basic, most fundamental level, the human brain has two basic functions.
Love and hate.
Number one, to perceive, and number two, to judge.
Love and hate.
So you can think of it as perceive is to take in information, and to judge is to judge said information or come to a conclusion about said information. So that is how his theory begins. The brain does two simple things. It perceives and it judges. So continuing on, he didn't stop there. He went further and said, not only do we just perceive and judge, there seems to be two general ways in which we perceive and two general ways in which we judge. This is where we get intuition and sensing as two different ways in which we perceive or take in information, and the two ways in which we judge he observed as being thinking and feeling. So again, feel free to pause if you need to look at that, but very simple concept. He basically just breaks down, there's two ways to perceive, two ways to judge. Okay, intuition, sensing, and then thinking and feeling. Now, obviously, you're going to recognize all of these from part one when we were going over all the individual letters, right? Well,
yes.
This kind of breaks it down even more of like intuition and sensing are actually perceiving functions. They're the way we take in our information. Thinking and feeling are judging functions. They're the way in which we judge that information or come to conclusions about things. So I'm going to get my eraser because we need to continue on here.
Because the way that you keep talking about like judging.
Hello.
I want to use like the analogy is before we get to like the different types of perceiving or different types of judging.
Yeah.
It's like if you have cargo coming in on a train, that's perceiving. That's the train coming to the station. The judging is like organizing the cargo as you're taking it off the train and knowing where it goes. So, yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of times, like even in this picture, the judging looks like it's like leaving the brain, and it is, but it's like just getting reallocated and restored in the brain.
Yeah, it's kind of a way to organize.
You know what to do with that organization when something comes up. It's like, oh, let me pull up this file. I can access this out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So the last thing that Carl Jung observed and added to his theory, you can assign an attitude to each of these functions. Now you might, if you watched part one, you might recognize the term attitude. We briefly talked about it. That is extroversion and introversion. So again, we already went over that in part one. So if you want to deep dive on what those things mean, go back to part one. But this is where the attitude comes in. So to visualize this, I have intuition on top, sensing here. Those are our perceiving functions, as we just discussed. Down here, we have our judging functions, thinking and feeling. So what I'm going to do here is in black, I am going to assign an attitude to intuition. So as you can see up there on the top row, you can either introvert your intuition or extrovert your intuition.
It comes from the Latin.
What does?
The intro or the extra would be to the inside or to the outside. And then the verte for version is to turn.
Yes, love that.
So if you wonder about that, it's like, are you turning to the inside or are you turning to the outside is the base etymology of those words.
Yes.
Why did I care? I don't know.
So I went ahead and finished there. On the left side are all of the ways you can introvert. So you can introvert intuition, or you can introvert sensing. You can introvert your thinking or introvert your feeling. And then on the right side, same thing with extroversion. So these 8 here are Carl Jung's original 8 archetypes of personality. They also are what we now call cognitive functions.
And we know the most about NI and NE.
Yep, I'm dominant NE, she's dominant NI. So we're going to jump down to the bottom and basically explain to you what this means, what each of these functions actually look like in practice. And then after that, I think we could just finish off by showing where these cognitive functions are actually hidden in the 4-letter personality types that you see today.
I think the judging functions are probably a little bit easier to take a swing at because, like I said, it's the organization of information, but it's normally the way that we see a response to something that happens.
Yeah.
So it's normally it's some type of action that we see in someone where the perceiving functions, there can be action in it, but it's much more subtle.
It is more subtle. and typically just a little more internal in general.
Yeah.
It's not something that's super visible.
Yeah.
So starting with F, what would be introverted feeling? And now for me, that's my secondary function. For you, it's your third function.
I normally talk about introverted feeling as like an alignment with your values.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about introverted feeling versus extroverted feeling, a simple way to say it is extroverted feeling is pretty much what it sounds like. You are extroverting your emotions. You care about the harmony of the group. You care about the emotions of the group. You're very tuned into other people's feelings, how your emotions are affecting others.
An alignment with what's best for the group.
Yes. Well, introverted, if you introvert your feeling, which we all do both, when you introvert or are capable of using both, when you when you introvert your feeling, you basically are, what are my internal values? Does this align with my values? And how do I feel about how would this affect me? It's a very internal feeling process.
It's like how you have just like character and integrity.
Yes. Now change the battery. Hold on, people.
And everybody can have character and integrity. You can be whoever you want to be. But you don't have to. If you want to be a person without character,
Do you guys like my skirt?
then you can be a person without character.
Yeah.
All right, T.
Now we're
As
moving
in, do
up.
you know the T?
We're
Have
moving
you
up,
spilled the tea?
and we're going to gossip now.
Tell us about the tea.
I'm going to spill the tea on the T. So T, as we know from part 1, stands for thinking. It stands for logic and reasoning. You can either introvert your thinking or extrovert your thinking. An example of introverted thinking, I feel like that might be a little bit easier to understand instead of the extroverted thinking in this case, because obviously we think in our heads internally. So like people with dominant introverted thinking be in their head a lot more. They're going to be very pensive. They're going to want to take their time really processing and analyzing information.
What's their internal monologue like, do you suppose?
I mean, I guess it depends what the subject would be.
Well, no, but like there are some types that don't have not types. There's some people that don't have internal monologues. And
That's
I was
the
wondering
rumor.
If that's like
That's the rumor. I don't know if I believe it. That's insane. The
true.
introverted thinkers, if anyone's going to have an inner monologue, it is
that was
the
my thought.
introverted
Is that the
thinkers.
introverted thinkers would be most likely to have a deep
And
internal.
the rest of us don't.
Yeah.
Extroverted thinking, that's something you're a little more familiar with.
Yeah.
You use it more.
I think that's like, especially people who are dominant and extroverted thinking, those are your external processors.
It's kind of that thinking out loud. Like people with dominant extroverted thinking, that's going to be ENTJs and
I
ESTJs.
think that they're big, like, take charge in a crisis. Or it doesn't have to be a crisis.
They're quick thinkers. Now, does that mean they're always right with their assessment? No, it's just that they're quick with their assessment.
Yeah.
So I think out of all the
they're
types,
faster and louder than the rest of us.
even probably more than extroverted feeling in a way, extroverted thinking is so like, oh, this is the way it is. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they super get locked into it. They can. It can be a little hard sometimes to get them to be like, pull back from that. But that's part of why they can be good leaders, because they're able to come up with plans so quick based on little information, which is impressive in its own right. But of course, it can be a downside.
Yeah. Well, I think that like the T side of it all, I'm thinking about that quote. Is it Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War who said like, I will win the war when I have a general who understands the arithmetic of the situation. Because it was basically like there were way more Union soldiers. And so they just had to keep sending... Union.
Carl Jung?
No. They had to keep sending in.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's insane because basically the general who ended up taking charge in the Civil War and winning the Civil War, his son died. And he just had to keep sending in soldiers to win that war. And they filled up all the graveyards. And so they had to keep like finding land. And so they started burying it in, I think they buried it in Robert E. Lee's front yard. Basically, they started burying fallen troops there because they ran out of graveyards, which is now Arlington. It's I've
been there.
Arlington National Cemetery, which is a great, like, weird historical fact. But like that general was a TE general who was like, we will keep doing this despite everything else because we understand.
Yeah, it is
and
quick,
we will make action on it.
Quick, decisive action is a good way to sum up extroverted thinking. They also tend to be those typical external processors. Is very much a thing too. So moving on, we're moving on up to sensing. Now, I'm going to
Sensing
say...
might be the easiest.
Okay, I was literally about to say introverted sensing is the hardest one for me to explain, which is so funny. But maybe it's not crazy because that's my inferior function, and maybe that's part of why it's really hard for me to explain it in words, but we'll try. How would you explain introverted sensing? I think extroverted sensing is easier. It's basically just redundant. Extroverted sensing is like kind of the typical sensing.
Yeah, so sensing is like your five senses: taste, touch, see, feel, love.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
The sense of love.
The sense of love.
And so you'll see extroverted sensors like taking in a ton from like the environment around them. And normally they can process, like
Yeah.
put that into their processing real fast. So they might be good athletes or this or that.
Yeah. They're typically really good with their external environment.
Yeah. With introverted, I think you just go into the more like niche detail of it all, where they are still taking it all in, and it's kind of irritating. But then like...
It's like they're able to take in everything through their senses and organize it really cleanly
into these little things.
Yeah. It's basically an internal process of quickly organizing information that has come in through sensing.
Their superpower is a quick organizer. They're calendar man.
Yeah. A lot of the SI dominant types, that's going to be ISTJ and ISFJ. They are really good with numbers, with little details, with logistics.
Interior design, librarian.
Yeah, accounting. They're going to be really good. Anyone that uses SI as like a dominant or auxiliary, they are...
They dot their I's and cross their T's.
Yes. Like if you, for example, wrote a paper and you need someone to take a look at it and make sure you didn't like misspell things or whatever, find someone with dominant SI. They're going to be really good at doing that. So finally, moving on with our perceiving functions, we come to intuition. So again, you can either introvert your intuition or extrovert your intuition.
An introverted intuition is...
Exhibit A.
I think it's one of the hardest to explain because it's so abstract that unless you know it, it's like sounds like gibberish.
You're taking intuition, which is already a very, what the heck is that even? And then introversion, which is an internal process that is difficult to see. And you're putting those two together.
Yeah.
So I think it is fair to say out of all of these 8, NI is the hardest to put into words.
Like SE is like, that's a rock. Go touch a rock, go feel a rock, go smell a rock, go taste a rock. Yeah. That's a rock. And even if like you don't have SE, you can identify rock with your TE, you can identify rock with your F, you can identify rock with N. But going the other way, it's like, oh, okay, how do we take the abstract and turn it into like a slightly more concrete form of the abstract for people to engage with?
I do think NI is kind of the most woo-woo of the functions.
Like it's... Like, I know someone with NI who, like, knows their phone's going to ring before it rings.
Yeah.
Like, how? I don't know.
Well, tell them again, I think we've said it in episodes before, but tell them again what Dr. Nardi's research showed in the brain scans of people who use dominant NI. Because that was fascinating.
I might have a picture. Do you want my book?
Yeah, we could include it if you can find it.
Like, the patterns of how different brains lit up depending on cognitive functions is really interesting. And they did it a ton. One of Dr. Nardi's colleagues did a study in elementary school with how they learned math. What we're talking about is when people are like really, really engaging, there are certain things that they see in brains that happen.
I see.
So it's not like, so the ENFP brain is like the NE brain is the Christmas lights brain, but you don't always have Christmas lights brain.
Yeah, it was probably in a scenario where they were asked.
Yeah, where you were like getting new information and trying to do something and doing a task. You had like problem solving.
Yeah.
And the NI brain goes into like the blue Zen brain where everything kind of turns down and then it pops off.
Yeah, NI is an interesting one. NE, extroverted intuition, that's my dominant trait. So my experience of that is generally, I am constantly scanning my environment for things that can inspire me. So my intuition is basically craving ways to, things to think and ponder about or create art with, or I'm looking for inspiration. So I'm looking in my environment to find things, but in a conceptual, more abstract way, rather than actually tangibly and concrete.
I think like it's probably the easiest way to approach the N versus the S is we talked about S being the 5 senses: taste, touch, see, hear,
Smell, love.
See, hear, no, smell. 5 senses, sensing.
Yeah.
And then I think NI that's when we talk about the 6th or 7th sense, but it's like we can't quite put our finger on.
Yeah.
But like the gut feeling you get about things and this and that. Love.
Yeah.
But if we were to like put it in the sensing box and kind of put it like parallel to it.
Yeah.
It's like, there it is, the NI. So there is in taking information somehow. with a sense that we don't quite get. But like, you know, when you meet someone who, everybody's had the experience, like you meet someone and you just get that gut feel, like they're creepy, I gotta get away from them.
Yeah.
That's something that's in the in. Because if you look and you're like, well, they're wearing a suit, they seem nice, they're smiling, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, nope, I know they're creepy, I gotta get away from them.
So I'm gonna erase these. Everyone say bye. And last thing we're gonna do before we go is we're just going to revisit here. So we have, let's take a type. Let's
do the INFJ, it's popular.
Okay, let's do the INFJ. So here we are in the MBTI system that soon followed those 8 archetypes. So here's our 4-letter type. And let me just show you before we go where the cognitive functions are hiding. And you might be able to see it already. So I tried to keep the same color so it makes sense. The second letter, whether it's N or S, now we know the second letter in the type is your perceiving function. The one in green here, the third letter in the type, is your judging function. So now you can see where we just came from. Perceiving function, judging function are here in the middle next to each other. On the outside, the Myers-Briggs system decided we're going to put the attitude out here. So we know that this type is an introverted dominant type. They use introversion primarily. This last letter was added, judging and perceiving, basically to tell us which part of the personality is extroverted. Okay? Which part of this personality type does the world around the person experience? So what this implies is if we have a J here, they extrovert their judging function. What's the judging function? It's that third letter in the type. So we know that the INFJ extroverts their feeling, and I'll go ahead and write that down.
Yes. So it's telling us that the feeling is extroverted.
Yep.
Boop. It's telling us that they eat a lot of iron.
They eat a lot of iron. Hee hee ha ha. So there you have it. They extrovert their feeling. And continuing on, if they extrovert their feeling, then we know automatically that means
they will introvert.
They have to introvert then their perceiving function. In other words,
and
intuition.
The I tells us that the introvert is leading.
Yes, and because the 4-letter type starts with introversion, that means the introverted function here is...
No!
Oh.
Technical difficulties. She immediately wrote any. She thought she was talking about herself.
You wish you could use any INFJs, don't you? Don't answer that. Introverted intuition. So these are the attitudes. So you can figure that out using the last letter. That's kind of the cheat code, and not everyone who's familiar with Myers-Briggs even knows that. There is a secret code in here, a formula you can use to figure out the functions.
Yeah, that's why when people talk about like J in like they take, you know, a test online for a letters profile.
Yeah.
And they get J in there and they're like, judging types tend to be more organized or blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's a very simplistic overview.
I was going to say it's nonsense, but.
Well, it's like, yes, there's kind of some truth to it, but it's too simplistic because it isn't quite going to look like those traits for every single type that uses judging, because what was really happening is, well, how do they judge? Oh, they use thinking as an example. Also, do they introvert or extrovert that thinking? That also is going to change it. Well, in this case, we know they're going to extrovert their thinking because J is at the end, right? So keep in mind, if P was at the end, that means they extrovert their perceiving. So in my case and her case, actually no, in my case, because it's a P, I extrovert my intuition.
And this is why I'm confusing, because you can't just say, oh, J's, they're all assholes. INTJs can be assholes. I'm not saying that.
Yes.
But I'm saying that.
Now I'm thinking this might need to be the next episode.
Yeah. I told you it'd be a series.
Because my
kept
mom...
promising everything in the next episode.
Yeah, my mom still gets so confused. And she literally raised me on Myers-Briggs. But even she gets confused with like, ENFP, you keep telling me I'm a perceiving-led type, but I'm a J at the end. And I'm like... And I've tried to explain it to her, and she still doesn't fully get it. So maybe we'll get into that next time. But yeah, that sounds confusing. But
yeah,
that's why I saved that for the end, because I know that can be a little...
Well, and that's why I get like... I have an opinion, because I do believe that it's a little bit of a disservice for actually like going through true Myers-Briggs. And like if people want to create like personality profiles just based on letters, I don't really care. The disc is based on letters and stuff like that.
It doesn't keep you up at night?
It doesn't keep me up at night, but I would prefer if they used slightly different letters and used a slightly different name than Myers-Briggs to help just so there's not so much overlaying confusion.
Cough, cough, 16 personalities.
Yeah,
Cough.
I mean, 16 personalities.
That's really the one we're thinking.
Big one. But it's kind of like Portuguese and Spanish, right? Where like a lot of native like Spanish speakers can understand a good amount of Portuguese, but they're actually still different, and vice versa. But they're different languages, and they're not all like replaceable with itself.
Yes.
Interchangeable.
Yes.
Thank you so much for helping me find that
You're
word.
welcome.
They're not fully interchangeable. And so, you know, I just think that if I could do it all, I would create more separation.
Yeah.
So even if the concepts are same, there's less confusion in the, is that that? Is that that? Is that? Because if you neither know Portuguese nor Spanish and you're just listening, it can sound very similar.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's a good way to put it too. Obviously saying ENFP or INTJ is easier than I'm an NEFI TESI, right? Like, it is nice to be able to be like, yeah, ENFP, but that's why we just want people to know it means a lot more. There's a lot more depth.
The circle goes even deeper in the this is dumb thing, because like 16 personalities uses the letters, but then they use a name, like the Guardian, the this, the that, which would be fine.
Yeah.
But that's why we're like, oh, this is so, because I'll have people tell me, like, they'll walk up and they'll be, you know, I'm an INFPA or INFP.
Yeah, and I know immediately where they got it from, is 16 personalities.
Which is like,
that's specific to them.
good on you.
Yeah.
But then also I'm sitting there and I'm like processing through what they told me. And because I knew they got it from 16 personalities, and because I have a theory that the INFP is the catch-all in tests for personality types, because it's such a beautiful representation of the everyman. A lot of like hero stories and stuff like that, because there's so much that each person can relate to within the INFP that's maybe not as relatable in some of the more potent traits in some personalities.
Yeah, more extremes.
Like, not everybody relates to the ENTJ.
Yeah, that's true.
I do. I love the ENTJ. But
Yeah, not everyone does.
if you're going to take a test, you're probably not going to be like... And I think it's funny because our INTJ friend was telling us when she was taking a test, she's like comparing herself to other types. Like, I do like to think, but I don't like to think as much as the INTJ does, so I can't be a deep thinker.
Well, yeah, she basically was like, I can't be a T at all. Because I'm comparing and say, well, I don't think as deeply as that person, so I must not be a T. And I'm like, well, that's not how it works. It's their personality type is very different than your personality type, even though you both are thinkers.
Yeah.
So that's, you know,
But
when you're just starting out, it can make...
I mean, we're not going to throw rocks at children for figuring out how to learn in their own way and speed.
Yeah.
Like...
my neighbor used to throw rocks at me when I was a kid. Not here.
Oh, you also weren't a kid here.
Yeah, the old place where I lived, he's passed away now. Oh, whoa! Hold on.
I just imagine...
Oh my gosh, no, sorry. You gotta shut up and give me a second. I am having a revelation. I know why I don't like ISTJs now.
Because your neighbor was an ISTJ that threw
Because
rocks
the
at you?
frickin' ISTJ I knew growing up would literally throw rocks at me.
That's not representative of most
Guys, I know where my ISTJ
ISTJs.
trauma comes from. Because one was frickin' throwing rocks at me as a kid. I'm so sorry, ISTJs. I've been so rude to you just because the crazy old man next door who happened to be an ISTJ was throwing rocks at me as a kid. Man,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
And don't let your personality determine whether or not you can throw rocks.
Do you think I need to get some like trauma out and throw rocks at someone or something? I don't know how to deal with this situation.
I
Do I talk to a
imagined
therapist?
our ENFJ neighbor throwing rocks, and I thought that was bizarre.
How do I deal with this trauma? Do I throw rocks at you? That might help. Can we go do that after?
I want to go...
Are you going to take away this opportunity for me to heal and not let me throw rocks at you?
If you're healing but it imposes trauma upon me, then wouldn't that be like the trauma cycle continues? Because then I'd have to go throw rocks at someone.
I don't care about that part. I only care about getting my trauma out.
And that's the problem with the world, is most people only care about getting their trauma out. They just want to treat the symptoms. They don't want to treat the disease. But maybe we should all take a step back and consider what the disease is. Because depression and anxiety are all-time high in society today.
Mountain Dew or Mountain Don't?
You may do. Do the do.
Thank you. I Mountain Dew.
And, you know, it's better just to ask why. What's happening to create these things happening?
Why?
Probably because ENFPs are throwing rocks at people.
Watch out, guys. We're getting our revenge on the ISTJs of the world.
What? There's one ISTJ and he's dead. What revenge are you going to get on him?
I don't know. But obviously, my brain has walked around assuming because that one ISTJ threw rocks at me, literally, by the way, I just want to make it clear, he literally threw rocks at me, then my brain must have just assumed every ISTJ wants to throw a rock at me. Either metaphorically or
Could you
literally.
imagine my aunt throwing a rock at you?
Maybe.
Take that seriously.
Listen, you don't understand trauma. My trauma tells me that lady right there is actually about to throw a rock at me.
Okay, one, this is little T trauma. This is not big T trauma. And I apologize to the people of the world who have capital T trauma out there.
Excuse me.
Two, I am being very dismissive because I feel like...
You're not letting me throw rocks at you.
I feel like this is
really rude.
Something worth dismissing.
Listen, I'm the one with the psychology degree.
Let me be dismissive to y'all. A lot of your little T traumas can be resolved if you grow up and get over it.
Why'd you point at me? Are you saying like, oh, like I have? Because I am here saying I haven't. I don't think I have.
I agree you haven't. You're insisting I throw rocks at you.
Listen,
you throw rocks at me.
I got my degree in psychology, and I'm pretty sure there was a chapter in one of my textbooks that said it's okay for me to throw rocks at you to heal myself.
You know what?
I'm pretty sure.
I have the phone number from one of the professors of psychology at the place that you got your psychology degree. Let me just text her and find out.
I think she'll back me up.
I don't think she will.
I think she... You know what? And if she then calls me and say, hey, what the heck's going on? I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. I'm sorry.
She'd be like, hey, I taught you 4 years ago.
I'd be like, I don't recall.
I don't mean to be dismissive of your trauma. Not you. I do mean to be dismissive of yours.
Yes, okay, make an
of
apology.
your trauma. I do think y'all do need to grow up and get over it. But growing up and getting over it means going through the process of healing, and it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And as your internet INTJ, I believe in you. You can go through the process of healing. You can do hard things.
There's two types of therapists. There's the one that tells you, listen, I'm going to tell you, hold your hand when I say this. You got to grow up and get over it. It's not going to be easy, but eventually you got to grow up and get over it, and I'm going to help you get there. And then there's the other therapists that are like, oh, that is horrible. Let's sit. You want to throw a rock at me? Would that help you? I'll sit here and I'll let you throw a rock at me right now. And that's the difference. And that's why one of us got a degree. The other one has no psychology degree. Who are you going to listen to?
The answers
may surprise you. Well, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah. Tune in next week when we decide what type of bear each type would be. And we are going to bring in some fictional bears.
Nope.
Like Winnie the Pooh.
That's not happening, guys. Before that,
Wavelength.
We're going to do a little episode where I surprise Miss INTJ and start throwing rocks at her.
What? Oh, yeah. And
all right, guys. Bye. Love you.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment. No, wait, I said comment already.
Yeah, you already did that part.
Okay, wait, hold on. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know.
Let us know your trauma in the comments.
Please let a therapist know your trauma in the comments because they're more equipped to help you. We are not a therapist. We are not equipped to help you. Yeah. We have not been licensed in any state. We are just laymen giving our opinions. But send us pictures of your pets. We're still waiting for some horsies to come in.
We are pet experts.
Yes. We're what you call pet experts.
Yeah. What she said.
Let us know your MBTI type and if you can relate to the dominant cognitive function of your type. So like if you're like an INTJ, then it would be NI, ENFP. You were supposed to join it.
Oh, what?
ENFP would be NE. But like the different types, like let us know what your dominant function is with your type and then like how you experience the world with it and how you would kind of explain it.
Yeah. Man, you're going to make them, like you just gave them homework.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, that's your homework. Let us know in the comments. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you have a damn fine day at the dam.
We're going to the dam.
We're going to the dam.
The Hoover Dam.